Guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Today, we're going to actually look into what are buyers paying for properties. Are they paying full price? Are they negotiating? I hear a lot of stories. Let's dig into reality.
You better get fired up.
Guys, good seeing you. Thanks for joining me. We're here every single Wednesday where we talk about really anything Port St. Lucie real estate market. Today, I'm going to dig into answering the question, what are homes actually selling for? A lot of people are saying, hey, I can come in 20, 30, 40 grand low. I'm going to get it. It's a buyer's market. I can do what I want. And some sellers are saying, I'm going to get full price. I'm going to dig my heels in. I'm going to get exactly what I'm asking for. Let's look into the reality and let's see what really happens. And we can look at, I'm going to look at, so you should be able to see my screen right now. Let's get in right here. So this is the MLS, the multiple listing services, the hub of everything where all the data comes in. So we're going to come in and we're going to look at Port St. Lucie, and I'm going to look at single family homes. So we're getting rid of townhomes, condos, modular homes, stuff like that. And let's just look at maybe the last week. Okay, so that's we'll go the 26th of February. I got to go back to 2026. How many sales is that? 115. Okay, I want even less. I'm trying to get it to where it's a manageable amount I can go through. Oh, because I backed up to 2025. 26. Okay, so these are the 26 most recent homes. They all sold between now and the 28th of February. All right, there's 26 of them. So let's come in and first of all, let's see what is selling in Port St. Lucie in the last handful of days. What's that, 28? I think we had 29 days. So it'd be 6 days, 5 days, something like that. So we had one at 2.1 million. 9 and a quarter, 867. Then a big jump down to 676 and a quarter, 560, 515. You can see out of the 26, the median is going to be between 13 and 14. So that is what, 452 and 460. That's 456 is the median. That is a high median. All right. And I can almost guarantee the average is going to be higher than normal as well, because we've got a couple of real big dogs up here. On the lower ends, right, the bottom five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are 390, 345, 341, 339, 317, 5. So there you can see exactly what's going on. How long did it take for these homes to sell? Well, you can see at the high end, 193, 170, 167, 157, 135, 132. These are days. In fact, if we look, it is 11 out of 26 took 90 days or more to sell. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that took anywhere from 0 to 17 days to sell. Then there was a pretty big gap up to 41 days, right? Now, remember, and I brought this up a week or two ago in one of these videos, you're going to get a lot of properties that don't sell and they come off the market. None of those are included on this list. These are only properties that were priced well enough, looked good enough, staged well enough, marketed well enough, had a good enough realtor who could negotiate well enough to get the deal put together, stay together, and it closed. All right, so there's a lot of missing data here. These are just properties that did all of those things and actually closed. Okay, so now let's go in and take a look at how much they sold for. And I'm going to keep this, not how much they sold for. We can see how much they sold for, but what was their original asking price versus what did they actually sell for, right? And I'm going to go in order of days on market, because I think, I'm guessing you're going to see a strong correlation here. You're going to see that the ones that were on for a couple weeks probably got close to market value. The ones that were on for 4, 5, 6 months probably had to take a haircut. All right, and then we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's start. So the bottom 1, 2, 3 all sold in 0 days. What does that mean? It could mean it went on and boom, it sold. Typically what it means is it was already sold before they even put it on the market. They just put it on for data purposes. I'm guessing all 3 of these are going to sell for full price for that reason, but let's take a look. This one was 867, 320. They did not drop the price. Obviously, it was only on for a day, and they sold for full price. Okay, well, that's not in any way mind-bending, right? We would have guessed that. This one, same exact thing, sold for full price. This one right here, okay, this is a little bit different. 477,900. List price was 477,900, but it sold for 503,447. Why? You don't know, but there's a good chance that one of two things happened. Either the seller left some furniture, or they did some upgrades, they replaced the roof, they whatever, right? Maybe redid the kitchen, whatever it is they agreed to. But hey, we're only going to do that if you increase the price. Or they asked for seller concessions, meaning, hey, we want $25,000 back, or whatever this math comes out to. In concessions, you're going to cover our closing costs, or whatever it is we want. But to do that, we'll increase the price accordingly. All right, so that could have happened as well. So this one again was not on the market it was day one, and it went under contract. Okay, so now we're going. The next couple properties have been on 5, 7, and 17 days. All right, let's go to the one that's been on 5 days. 675, they did not drop, and they sold for 670. So really dang close, $5,000 under on a $670,000 home. This one was on at $399,900. They obviously didn't drop the price, and it sold for $9,900 under at $390,000. And this is the last one that was on in 3 weeks or less, really under 41 days, because that's the next one. They were on at $489,900, and they sold for $480,000, so $9,900 under. So far everything is either $5,000 or $10,000 under. Okay, now we're going to jump to homes, as you can see, that are 41, 41, 45, 45, 56 plus days on the market. Let's start to see what we got here. I'm going to move a little bit quicker just for time purposes. 449 dropped to 429 and sold for $395. So that's $54,000 under original asking. This one was at 450, dropped to 4.25, sold for 400. $50,000 under original asking price. This one here was 314.5, and it sold for 317.5. Again, they could have given up concessions, or who knows why. They could have multiple offers, honestly, for $3,000. This one was 975, dropped to 950, sold for 9.25. 379.9 dropped to 359.9, $20,000, and then sold for another $15,000 below that at 345. This one was 424.9, dropped to 415, sold for 406. 524.9 dropped to 499.999, sold for 490. 489 dropped to 479, sold for 452. 439.9 dropped to 419.9, sold for 418. That one was really close. 659 dropped to 639, $20,000, sold for another $15,000 under at 624. 410 did not drop their price, sold for 412. And it took them 104 days. Okay. What do we got? 9 left. 599, 655. That's a goofy price. Way dropped. What's that? 80 grand, 83 grand down to 516, 665. And so for 511, 745. Almost $90,000 less than original asking. Holy smokes. This one was at 415, dropped 20 grand to 395, sold for 390. This one's at 475 and some change. Somehow raised the price to 479, and they ended up selling for 470. This guy right here, 355, dropped 20 grand to 335 with a pool. Sold for $6,000 over that at 341. 600 dropped to 575, sold for 560. We got 4 more. 543 dropped 20 grand to 523. Sold for $8,000 less at 515. This one here, was this mine? No, this wasn't mine. God, I feel like I just sold one just like this. 449 dropped to 400, and it sold for 400. So once they dropped it, they attracted the offer. This one was 345, dropped to 329. That's $16,000. Sold for 339, $10,000 over. Right? So there they attracted so much interest, they might have got multiple offers and gone over. This one here, 497, dropped to 465, sold for 460. So there you have it, right? You can start to see what it's like. There were a handful, I don't remember how many, maybe 5 out of the 26, 6 out of the 26 that sold at asking or over. The longer they were on, the more challenging it was to get that full price. And notice how some of them started really high, almost all of them, dropped, and then they sold. And they might have sold a little under, they might have sold for that price, they might have sold a little over, but it was dropping the price that got them the offer. I say that because the typical conversation that a listing agent has with a seller is, sir, ma'am, your home is worth X. And they say, great, let's start it at X plus 20 grand, 25 grand, 30 grand, whatever it is. And then the listing agent, depending upon how confident and strong they are, comes back and says, you can do that, but if you do that, there are a lot of potential consequences. You could be market worn. Then when you drop to the price that I'm telling you you're worth, you still might not get it because everybody's seeing the days on market and they think there's something wrong with it. Whereas if you get it priced right from day one, you're going to attract all those best and strongest buyers in that first week or two. We can leverage all of that interest against each other, maybe get multiple offer situations and get you a strong offer, probably the strongest offer you're going to get. A lot of people do not do that. I don't know where they get their negotiation skills. I think people just get nervous. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know how to price. And so they say, let's start high and leave a little leeway in there, a little wiggle room. I literally just got a text today saying, let's do this and leave us a little wiggle room. I get that text every single time. It doesn't work. That's not true. It does work sometimes. But statistically, you are going to do better if you price it right from day one. And in this buyer's market, you might even need to price it a hair under to attract the offers. So I share this because, I mean, if I'm your listing agent, I'm going to come in and share all this stuff with you anyway. But I know a lot of agents might not share this stuff with you. I want you to hear it from someone else. I'm telling you, if your home is worth X based on sold comps, not active asking prices, active asking prices do not matter. No appraiser ever has looked at active asking prices. Sold comps, if you determine your house is worth X, I highly suggest you list it at X. Now, if X is $395 and you want to list it $400, I don't think that's crazy. You're at a major price point. You're not losing any eyeballs. Yeah, you're a little over, but you're not that far over. You'll still get your offer. It's probably going to be $395, but you'll still get your offer. If you're at $405, I do not think you should list at $410, $415, $420. In fact, in that situation, I might even come down to $400 to attract all the people who are searching only to $400. Now you might say, well, Joe, I don't want to give up that money and then I got no leeway and blah, blah. I got it. But I'm telling you, you're going to be more successful more often in that situation. If you're comped at 405, let's just say that's true. You're going to be more successful. And when I say more successful, I don't just mean selling it. Obviously, your odds of selling it go up. I'm talking about netting the most. You're going to net the most more often if you come to 400 than if you listed at 410 with some wiggle room. You're going to attract way more eyeballs, have a way bigger buyer pool, way more interest, way more showings, more offers, leverage them against each other. And I've got something I can use as leverage. And now we're able to get a stronger offer. Every time? No, not every time. But the majority of the time, yes, you're going to do better. So there you guys go. Buyers, if you're seeing this, can you negotiate? Absolutely, you can negotiate. How much? It really depends. You'll see some of these sold for full price, sometimes even more. Some sold way under. It's not that this one did really well and this one did horrible. That's not the case. Typically, there's variables to what I'm talking about. It's typically this one priced it right, so they sold right away for full asking price, maybe a hair over. This one said, hey, I want to start 30, 40, 50 grand high. And so the offers that they got, A, didn't come in until they reduced down to within reality. And B, by the time they even got within reality, the offers were still coming in low because they were market worn. So it depends on a lot of stuff. Remember this too as a buyer. I'll show people this, buyers this, and they'll say, okay, after looking at this, I've got to assume then that a lot of homes are going to take my offer for 20, 30 grand under. These did. But remember, I'm going to look this up right now. There were 26 sales in the last 6 days that I just showed you. There's over 1,900 actives. Right? So that means over 1,900 didn't take an offer that was under asking price. So yes, there are homes. Of the homes that sell, you will see some of them working on their price. But if you come in and just say, I want this house and I want a 20, 30 grand under, a lot of people aren't going to take that. A lot of people will, but a lot of people aren't going to take that. So you've got to know your odds. And if you've got a strong, intelligent, experienced realtor, they should be able to tell you, hey, you got maybe 20, 30% odds in my experience coming in at this price with this home. I comped it out. This is what it's worth. And that's what I think your odds are. Right. And then you'll come in on another one. Maybe I told you, hey, I would come in low on this one too, 20, 30 grand. Even if they won't accept it, I think that's what it's worth. So if you love it, you can pay more. But even if you come in 10 grand under, I think you're overpaying. Whereas on another home, hey, I think it's priced great. If you can get 5, 10 grand off, that's just icing on the cake. I would pay full price for this one. But not just saying it. They should be showing you the sold comps to support it, right? You want to see that. But there you guys go. Hopefully that's helpful. If you got something you'd like me to dig into in a future Florida Treasure Coast Market Update video, let me know in the comments or in a private DM on Facebook, and I'm happy to do so. Guys, thanks for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday.